Dragon's Dogma has some of the coolest fighting system mechanics I have seen in an action RPG, and I've played a lot of them, but for me, it just wasn't enough to see past every glaring issue this game has. I know this is a cult classic loved by many, but it's okay to not like something that a lot of people like. Welcome to completion number 64 of the Potato Backlog project. For more info on the project and more videos, see the link below. Make sure you stick around to the end of the video for the one true hope humanity has left in this world, the Tater Raider, and let's have a talk about Dragon's Dogma. I'm taking a bit of a different approach with this backlog video. I'm not going to spend a ton of time dumping on the things I didn't like or the tons of issues I did have with Dragon's Dogma. This game is loved. It's a cult classic. Dragon's Dogma is a ton of people's favorite game ever. It just received a sequel that seems to be living up to what everybody wanted outside of PC optimization, and it's not my goal to sit and try convince everybody that this is a bad video game. This game wasn't for me, and that's fine. My favorite part of the game and the entire reason for playing, in my opinion, is the combat. It's unique and fun, and the depth and options can keep somebody engaged for countless hours. It's the reason I played the game as long as I did. The vocation system is how classes are handled in Dragon's Dogma. You aren't tied to one vocation for your entire playthrough. The option to switch freely and try different things out feels like it's encouraged. The game starts you out with a choice between the three basic vocations, Fighter, Strider, and Mage. As you play through, you will unlock other more advanced vocations like Warrior, Ranger, Sorcerer, Assassin, and a few others. You then use a kind of experience point system to buy skills and moves for these classes. As you level up the vocations, more skills become available. Combined with weapons, armor, and item customization, you have the building blocks of a great RPG system. Each class or vocation offers unique abilities and ways to approach combat in the game. This is one of the big appeals, the sheer amount of options given to the player. The combat itself is fun. One of the coolest holy crap that's awesome moments for me was finding out I could actually grab onto larger enemies and climb them during battle. Crazy concept. Just something you don't see in many games. It wasn't just a visual thing either. Climbing certain enemies gave you better access to weak spots and added a new strategic element to the game that I didn't even realize was a thing when I started out. The other crucial part to the combat in the game are your AI party companions. In Dragon's Dogma, this is called the pawn system, and these companions themselves are referred to as pawns. You will be given a main pawn which you can customize and will stay your main pawn even if they die and come back. You can also hire up to 2 more pawns for your party. These companions are taken from a pool of other players' main pawns. In a unique system that I haven't really seen anywhere else, your main pawn goes out into cyberspace and learns and goes on adventures with other players. This actually lends to the gameplay as well. Pawns will offer advice on things they've experienced before, certain missions or areas of the world they've been to. You also want to choose your pawns to complement the vocation that you've chosen. Maybe you want a healer or a mage that does fire damage for a certain situation, something to go along with the style that you like to play. It's a pretty cool idea that for the most part works pretty well. The AI itself can be pretty stupid at times though, especially in battle. Though there are ways to help shape its decision making, I found a lot of the things they did very frustrating at times. And lots of the times I just had to leave them for dead to save myself. When you reach a town again, your main pawn will always come back to you, but your hired pawns go back into the abyss and you'll have to hire 2 new pawns. Dragon's Dogma doesn't really do any hand holding, which I'm a big fan of. I don't have a problem with roaming into an area I'm not leveled for and getting destroyed. I enjoy that kind of exploration, but that's kind of where the fun stopped for me with Dragon's Dogma, as I just couldn't personally get past a lot of the shortfalls that the game has to continue to enjoy the combat experience. The story itself and things that actually happen in the game are very slow, next to non-existent at times. None of the missions are particularly interesting, and the quests are pretty generic, boring stuff. The amount of backtracking and walking around you have to do is ultimately what killed my fun with the game. There is no fast travel system. Outside of a limited crystal system to move to a few very specific places, there are no mounts. And I would have even taken Roach in this game. That's saying something. A game that seems to encourage exploration, but once I'm over encumbered with items, I can't quickly just go to town and sell everything. A game full of side quests and missions, but I timed a hand in once at 45 real-time minutes just to walk back to the guy and finish the mission, all the while fighting the same few wolves and goblins I've been fighting for the previous 5 hours to complete the few missions. There are big set-piece battles, there are fantastic enemies you will encounter, but within the first 20 hours of the game, these are pretty few and far between. In this fortress is where I just lost my will to go on with this game. A game that will allow my lantern to run out of oil so I can no longer see anything and need to get more oil to refill it. This same game will allow me unlimited arrows to kill 2 Cyclopses in a kind of glitched out fight. This took me 30 minutes to complete, and then 10 minutes after this it happened again with the 3rd Cyclops. So for me, I just couldn't get past all the things in the game that slowed it down, broke immersion for me. From everything I read on what people like, They like that broken stuff too. The vocation system, battle mechanics, and pawn system are enough for them. It's enough for them to get them past all that other stuff. And that's awesome. But anytime someone tries to tell me that the game gets good after you beat it, or you just gotta get past the first 40 hours, then it gets really fun, that's probably gonna be a game that's not gonna be for me. Why not be good and fun right off the bat? The start, the middle, the end, and if there's post-game content, be fun there too. 2 happy potato faces out of 5. I wouldn't recommend playing this game unless you have a ton of patience. It feels unfinished outside of every area besides the battle mechanics. I really hope all the things that were left lacking in this game were shored up for Dragon's Dogma 2, because I wanted to love this game. I really did. It's unique and I can understand why it's a cult classic hit. But with that, the Backlog project rolls on. Thank you so much for watching. Be kind to yourselves and others that deserve it. We're on to the next one. I really hope all the things that were left lacking in this game were shored up for Dragon's Dogma's 2's